Hello everybody, how are you doing today? Sunday morning, and I'm hoping to finish the tops up to the cooler boxes. So I'm heading into the shop right now, and we're going to go ahead and select some of the boards we have and start working. I'm going to keep you guys posted. Hopefully we can get the tops assembled today, and hopefully I can get the hinges assembled into the tops. I'm trying to figure out the best way to kind of hide those hinges so they don't show. I'll put some thought into it once I get the top done. That way I can kind of visualize a little better. And then I've got the handles, which I'll go ahead and try to get positioned. I need to, later on today, I've got to take my daughter. She's got a private lesson for archery. And after that private lesson, I'm going to stop by one of the big box stores and pick up the piping and the spigot for the cooler boxes. And I bought some handles at it's a Habitat for Humanity resale shop. And I'm gonna get some, they have square holes in them for carriage bolts because they're old garage door handles. So I want to pick up a few carriage bolts that I can run through the cooler boxes and, put a nut on the inside to hold them in. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed I can get these things completely done today, because her lesson's only a half an hour. So it's at 3, I'll be back by 4. And I'm hoping this afternoon to finish any small details. And also I'd like to pick out the finish I'm going to put on them today and go ahead and get that. It's a little chilly for the finish, but it's supposed to be 70 degrees tomorrow. Keep my fingers crossed. Maybe after work I can slap a little finish on these. We'll just see how it goes. If I have additional time in the shop today, I'm going to start working on gathering wood and getting it ready to build some more of the wine glass hangers, because they've been very popular. Boy, that was a mouthful, but I got it all out. Let you guys know what's going on. I'm going to shut the camera off, get busy, and I will be back in touch with you very soon. Wow, it took me a long time to get to this point. I had a lot of boards that needed to be jointed, that needed to be cut to the right width, and then I planed them all to get them smooth. And then I was able to build my first frame, my first top frame. Then I had bought some hinges. Well, I didn't really like the way they looked, the way they fit, so I dug around, found some hinges in a junk box I have, and I finally got the first frame finished. I'm going to show it to you, and I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I'm going to go ahead and build the second one while the glue sets up on this one, and I'm also going to cut the slats here in a minute, but let me show you what I got. Here's the top. I've basically got it glued in all 4 corners, and I've got it pin nailed, and this is just a piece of scrap to hold it together. But I've got some of these inside hinges, cabinet hinges I had in the garage, and I thought I would use those as opposed to the hinges that I have. So I'm real happy with how that fits. And I've just got this board here to hold it in place because I've got a nice flat flush fit all the way around. Whoops, sorry, I got a camera frame, but all the way around, and I don't want to lose that flush fit. So that's just keeping it from racking back and forth. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and build the frame for the top of this one. I've already got the hinges set. Just got to cut and put the frame together. And once that's done, I've got the slats already ripped to size, planed down, ready to go. I'll start cutting the slats for the top, and that should go pretty quick, I hope. And at that point, I'm done with the basic cooler box. I've got to attach the handles, of course, which is not a big deal, but I'm going to make a trip later today to buy the plumbing so that I can get that done. So I'm very happy with how this is coming along. It took me a long time to get to this point, but now that I'm here, this next one should go pretty quick, and I know what to do for the third one back there. So I'm gathering, I've got an extra set of hinges over there, and just gathering all my stuff up. So close, so close. I feel like all I've done today is mill up wood. It was a lot of milling, but I finally have the slats done for the tops of all 3 cooler boxes. I just have them temporarily laid on the cooler boxes. There's the second set. And then over there is the third and final set. What I'm going to do now is start attaching. Oh, I want to introduce you to somebody real quick. This is my grand dog Kaya, and this is my grand dog Boomer. They came for a little visit today. Our son is in town from Indy, and he was passing through, and he had the dogs with him, so he stopped for a little while to visit. And the pooches are out here hanging out with me. All right, I'm going to get these attached up, and I'll show you what I got in a little bit. Well, I got a little behind. I told you guys I was going to install the top slats, and I looked at the clock, and it was time for my daughter's lesson, archery lesson. So I stopped, grabbed a shower, took her to the archery lesson. Then afterwards we hit one of the big box stores and I picked up all the components that I need to do the plumbing on the cooler boxes. Came back, had a little dinner, and I just finished installing the tops. Let me show you what they look like. There they are. I think they look fantastic. I don't have a handle or anything yet, but they lift up. You see down in there, that's where the cooler will set. Haven't installed the coolers yet. Here's the other one. I'm really happy with how they turned out. The only thing that I have left to do is install a little piece of trim down around the bottom to hide the screws. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the piping first, just because I don't know where that's going to come out at, you know, how high on the side of the box. And I want to make sure that that's there first, and I'll cut the trim just shy of that so it runs right under it. I don't want to put the trim in and then have to cut a piece of it out to try to fit the spigot in. So I think I'm going to, I got glue on that, so I'm going to let the glue dry, and I think I'm going to pull the coolers out and start working on the plumbing on the inside of the coolers. Well, I just went in the house to see what was going on, and the kids were in bed, and I looked at my wife and said, "Why'd you put them to bed so early? It's only 8 o'clock. She goes, "No, it's not, it's 9. I never changed the clock in the shop." I thought it was 8 o'clock. They usually go to bed about 8:30, which they did go to bed at 8:30. It's just now it's 9. But on the cooler boxes, I got the holes drilled. I got the piping mounted inside the cooler box. I got the hole drilled on, I'm sorry, inside the cooler. I got the hole drilled in the side of the cooler box. All I need to do now is go out to the shed, and I got some 1/2-inch PVC. And I just need to cut a small piece long enough to fit between the spigot and the hole that I cut in the cooler box. And that'll be piped up and done. But I'm not going to do that until after I finish them. What I really need to do is get the little trim piece on the bottom to cover up the screws so that I can put some finish on them. Bad thing is it's 9 o'clock and I'm bushed. So I think what I'm going to do is call it a night. I thought I would put some finish on them tomorrow, but I think what I'll do tomorrow is go ahead and get the pipe. Well, I won't finish the piping until the very end. Get the, boy, I lost my train of thought. I mean, you can tell it's getting late. But tomorrow I'll go ahead and get the trim piece cut and attached. And if there's time, I'll throw some finish on them. But I don't know how that'll go but it is going to be in the 50s the next couple of days, so maybe I'll squeak into the 60s and be able to do the finish. Anyway, sorry about rambling on. It's late and I just kind of got caught up, but I'll give you a quick peek at them, and then I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you again real soon. Here's the peek I promised you. This is the back of one of the cooler boxes. I use these style cabinet hinges, which kind of, in the past I've used regular door style hinges, which are larger, and I just didn't like the look of them. These are kind of nice because they kind of hide. The only issue I have is, see how far back the top goes? Let me get back a little bit. I think what I may do is I may look to put something in there like a wedge or something to stop that. But overall, there's the side. So you can see the holes in the side of the boxes I've got cut for the piping. That should be no problem to finish. Here's the other side of the box. Tonight at the hardware store, I picked up the bottle openers, which I actually had to order those. They quit carrying them in the store, but I picked up the bottle openers, and I picked up the screws to mount the handles, as well as you know, all of the piping parts. And there's the rest of the piping. That little white piece right there will thread inside of that spigot, and then there'll be just a little piece of PVC. You can see how I made that little black rubber ring there, and it's mashed in there pretty good, so it should be sealing that hole. But this piece here is that threads into the spigot, and there's one of those that threads into that piece. So we just run about a 2-3 inch piece of PVC, not even that long really, but between the two of them, and put it on with some of that PVC cement, and it should lock down the spigot. That's all. Have a great evening, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.